Welcome back into Wake Up America. Day number 240 of the war in Ukraine as new waves of Russian airstrikes hit key Ukrainian energy sites, cutting power to half the country as winter approaches.
And joining us now to talk about it is retired Air Force Brigadier General and Newsmax contributor Blaine Holt. General Holt, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with you both. Happy Friday.
General, TGIF, my friend. Good to see you.
Now, General, the White House says that a number of Iranian personnel were in Crimea to train Russian troops how to operate the drones that Iran had supplied them with. Now, does this change the course of action for the US in any way, knowing that Tehran was directly engaged on the ground?
Yes, it absolutely does. I mean, now they're not even hiding it anymore. So before we had Iran being a loyal ally in the shadows and then saying, oh, those are not our drones. The Shahed 136, not ours, but you can easily see on TV that it is. So they've given up on that. They've lifted the camouflage. And they're going to flout all the UN Council resolutions by being an ally in the war. Now, the takeaway, the big takeaway here, is that why would we ever embark on some sort of nuclear arms reduction deal with Iran if this is what they think of international agreements and sanctions? So disingenuous partner, should have never flirted with this with them in the first place.
General, Joe Biden yesterday was campaigning for John Fetterman in Pennsylvania, and at the end of his speech, Joe Biden literally didn't know where to go. He had trouble getting off stage. The reason I bring this up is because that is the image that the American president is projecting to the rest of the world. Meantime, Vladimir Putin's in Russia a day ago touring a facility that makes weapons that are going to be used in Ukraine. This was unusual. We don't see Putin out of his dacha or palace in Moscow very often. What'd you make of this?
So on the first part of this, I would look to the entire national security team that took us right on through Kabul, did not deter a war, and got us to this exact place. And when are we going to stand up and hold folks accountable for these strategies? On the Russian side, Vladimir Putin is doing what he had actually better be doing, because if he gets into bunker mentality and everybody sees him as just holed up in a closet someplace running a war and hiding from the Russian people, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And this is kind of the fate of the strong man. He's out there with a sniper rifle showing that he too has military prowess and he's leading this country. What I understand is the Russians aren't really buying it. They're waking up all over the place, and they're understanding how their economy is being destroyed and how they won't be able to move around this world like they used to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly right, General Holt. He started to lose the support of the Russians, so I think he had to make this move in order to get them back. Now, as you know, I was in Ukraine last winter, and I can tell you it gets very, very, very cold there. And to think that Ukrainian civilians have had to limit their power now as they head into winter, it's a huge concern. And I would hate to think that this situation is going to get worse instead of better. And if Russia keeps attacking Ukrainian power facilities, what do you think this could lead to?
So it is going to get worse. It's already baked into the cake. But what you also know from your time there, Sarah, is that we're talking about some of the world's most resilient and resourceful people who are defending every square inch of their soil. They're certainly not laying this at Zelensky's feet, and they will find ways to heat themselves. There will be a death toll from the winter. Where my bigger concerns are right now is you're going to see this type of calamity on a not so resilient European continent, where we see protest after protest, millions of people screaming out about why the energy policies are in shambles over the sanctions, and there's been no gap coverage for what's clearly going to be a catastrophe in Europe this winter.
Yeah, and in western Ukraine, where those tall mountains are, they've already had their first freeze of the season. They had it 6 days ago. So it starts in the mountains and makes its way down to the farming valleys in the middle of the country, and certainly out east where the brunt of this fighting is happening right now. General, I'd like to talk about China as we head into the weekend. Xi Jinping, it looks like he will secure his third term as leader, his third 5-year term. Why haven't we seen some sort of formal announcement, and when would you expect that?
I think we're going to see it tomorrow, and the reason I do is because they're already making announcements that Xi is going to introduce his new cabinet of yes men on Sunday. And so that would kind of indicate to me that maybe all of the party squabbles are done. I did find it interesting, though, that Jiang Zemin, the number one rival to Xi Jinping, didn't even have a chair at this year's Congress, didn't even show up. And we could say, well, he's 96 years old, that's expected. Well, Song Ping, another rival of Xi Jinping, was there, and he's 104.
Wow, interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. General, have a great weekend. We'll do it again next week. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
All right, you too.